What's going on, gamers? How you doing? My name is John. In this video, I'll be reviewing the new Analogue Pocket Handheld. This is a new FPGA handheld. Essentially what it will do out of the box, it will play Game Boy game cartridges, Game Boy Color cartridges, and Game Boy Advance cartridges out of the box, right? In addition, there's going to be adapters available separately that will play Game Gear games. There will be a separate one that will play Atari Lynx games, another one that will play Neo Geo Pocket games, and another one that will play Grafx 16/PC Engine games, which I'm super excited about. So altogether, you can play up to about 2,800 different games that this thing is compatible. There's really no game that this thing cannot play with the adapters, of course, right? But really cool. So that is definitely a plus right there. And this is an FPGA system. And Analogue, who has developed this, has a great track record. They, years ago, released the Neo Geo MVS, consoleized MVS, and that was a wooden Neo Geo. I did a review on that years ago, and that was a console basically made out of wood. It was the craftsmanship was amazing. They released an FPGA NES. They released FPGA Super Nintendo, Genesis/Mega Drive as well. So they have a really strong track record of releasing great consoles. So rest assured, if you pick up one of these, they are available for pre-order currently. They're saying they're going to ship in 2023. I had to wait for a while to get one of these. They do come in both black and white. I decided to go with the black model because I think it looks really cool, although the white one looks awesome as well. So in this video, here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to do an unboxing, of course, show you what's included. I'm going to compare it to the classic consoles of the day, right? The Game Gears, the Game Boys, different versions of it. I'm going to show you some gameplay. And there's really three ways, essentially, to play games using the Analogue Pocket. I'm going to show you all three. I'm going to go through the more traditional way, using the cartridges and just different options and what you can do with that, which are super cool, by the way. Second, I'm going to show you how to use the cores. There's various cores they can download. There's a great community that are creating new cores as we speak, and this thing is expandable. It's a community system, essentially. I'm going to show you different cores and different games you can play, or emulations or ROMs through the cores, right? Third way I'm going to show you is using a flash card for the Game Boy, and I'm going to show you how that works. You know, they're all kind of between the traditional cartridge or flash card or going through the cores and emulation and ROMs. They all play essentially the same, but there's different settings for each one. I'm going to show you exactly what's the difference between each one. There's pros and cons of each one, of course. Then I'm going to share at the very end of the video, I'm going to share my honest opinion on what I think about the Pocket itself. Okay? So one thing I also want to get out of the way here first is FPGA, and some people may not know what exactly FPGA is or what that stands for. It's an acronym, of course, but what it stands for is Field Programmable Gate Array. To me, when I first hear that, it sound like a, I don't know, like a light gun or something like that, like a futuristic light gun, right? But no, basically what this will do is this is the best way. FPGA is really the best way to play retro games in a sense, because it doesn't just emulate the games like most emulators do, right? It really recreates the hardware itself, essentially, right at the end of the day. So this is really the best way to play games. It's basically taking some of the benefits from emulation, where you can do save states and all that. It's applying it to the cartridge itself. So it's basically the system, the FPGA, the chips is tricking the cartridge, thinking that it's a legit hardware, so it's compatible, and you can do some really cool things. It's got a nice display unit. I'll talk about the specs here in a second as well in the video. So without any further ado, let's dive into the unboxing. We'll compare it to different sizes. We'll show you some comparisons of games. Let me know what you guys think of this thing. Again, it's available for pre-order now on Analogue's website. I'm not getting paid to promote their product at all or anything like that. I'm a big fan of what they're doing. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Let's go forward and let's take a closer look. Thanks. Okay, now time for the unboxing. I'm going to unbox the adapter first, and what I have is the Game Gear adapter. It's the only one currently available. I went on their website. It looks like you can get a bundled one for $100. It will come with the Atari Lynx one. It will come with the Neo Geo Pocket/Pocket Color version, as well as the Grafx 16, PC Engine, and it will play Super Graphics games as well, which is awesome. But that's currently sold out, not available. I'm not sure if they're planning on releasing more of those adapters. I certainly hope so, because they're not available currently. I don't recall seeing them when they were actually available to purchase and ship. This is what it looks like. I'll say one thing about the production quality of the Analogue systems themselves. High production quality. This is kind of a slip cover. Let's take it off. And very easy. This is what the Game Gear adapter looks like, right? You just basically plug in the Game Gear game. Super simple. It comes with a nice clear plastic, right? So there's that, okay? Let's put that aside and show you the Pocket itself. Here's the case. Let's open it up. And you can see it comes with, it's got some really good build to it, I'll be honest with you. It's got a nice 3.5 inch screen, 615 ppi, which is essentially, it's a 1600 by 1400 resolution, which will bring it about 10 times higher res than the original Game Boy, for example. So this thing looks beautiful as far as resolution. It's got a nice gator glass on it, so it's got a nice, it doesn't crack very easy. It's got a very strong glass behind it. Yeah, the battery life itself will last, what they claim is about 6 to 10 hours of battery life. It is lithium battery. It does come with a USB-C charging cable. I don't have that here, but I do have it. It did come with it. And it will plug in. It doesn't come with a wall adapter, right? So either you need to buy that separately, which they have on their website, or any USB-C adapter, wall adapter will work, okay? There are other adapters that they sell separately as well. Here's where that would plug into. Those adapters, essentially, they have like a music program, which will show you how to access, but you can hook it up to your PC. You can create your own music, which is awesome. They have like a Game Boy Dev system as well, which you can program on your computer, and you have to get that wire cable to connect to USB-C. That's awesome as well. I don't have those, so I'm not gonna show you how to do those in this video, but that's a cool thing, and those are separate costs to do that, but that's awesome they do it. There's also a Pocket dock, which I don't have either, but that's retails for $100 US. Essentially what you can do is you can plug it into the dock will hook up to your TV, and through the 8BitDo Bluetooth controllers, you can now play the games on your TV. I wish they would have gone the route with directly HDMI out to TV. That would have been much better in my opinion, but I guess they're going for kind of the switch thing where you plug it into the dock, so to speak, right? But nonetheless, nice, really nice display. This is your power on and off button. You gotta hold it to power on. Your volume up and down. The volume up and down, you'll see a plus and minus, but it doesn't show you kind of a graph as far as what's left or where you're at, and there's no scale essentially. That's okay, but not a huge deal. Here are the shoulder buttons here. They're very small. I have big fingers, granted, but these things are very small, especially when you put in the adapter. I guess it doesn't really matter for the Game Gear adapter, right? Because it basically blocks it. But if you're playing Game Boy games, right, and you put a cartridge in there, there's really not much room. There's room, but there's really not much room to maneuver. You can get by with it, but it's all good. By the way, the cartridges really slip in very, very nicely, which is awesome. Here's a micro SD card slot. That's where you can load additional ROMs. You can update your firmware. All that kind of stuff would be done through the mini SD card slot there. You have a headphone jack as well. You can listen to headphones. This is where USB-C, where you can charge it. 4 buttons here, and they're not labeled, but you can get the idea. D-pad feels really nice. And I think that's pretty much it. You got stereo sounds, you got speakers on both sides. This thing's got some nice heft to it. It looks great. All right, let's power it on, show you, for example, how quick it loads. I don't have a cartridge in there, and it loads really quick. So this is the open FPGA. So this is where you can access your various cores. I'll show you that in a second. You got different settings, all that good stuff. Actually, before I do that, I want to show you, before I do a size comparison, I want to show you what also it comes with. I forgot to show you. It shows you kind of brief instructions here. There's a QR code as well for kind of, you can scan on your phone so you can kind of see a quick. Instructions are super simple though, nothing too complex. It does come with these stickers or decals. You got the Analogue Interactive logo here, which is awesome. And you have another one that's FPGA, but I was looking at it, and when I first got this, I'm like, teabag, why is there teabag? Like, I don't get what that means, teabag reference. I'm an idiot, first to admit that. It's actually FPGA, not teabag, right? But it's kind of funny. It looks like teabag, but it's FPGA. So I guess you can have either. You can either be a teabag or FPGA. Now I'm going to show you a size comparison. We'll go from there. First one I'm going to show you is, of course, the classic Game Boy. This Game Boy in particular is very sentimental to me. It's all scratched up and you can see there's some scratch marks. This is my original one from childhood. Bought it back in the late 80s when the system first came out, and still works today. Still love it. But you can kind of see the different size comparisons. Height-wise, it's very similar, right? You can see that the original Game Boy is much thicker. Obviously, the original Game Boy ran off of 4 AA batteries. This one's obviously off of the lithium battery, so battery life is much better on this. But you can see the screen also much better on the Pocket here, okay? The next one I'm going to show you is Game Boy Color. Again, this is one of the original systems I had as a kid. You can see, again, Game Boy Color is smaller, obviously, than the original Game Boy. You can see thickness a little more close, right? Width-wise, the Game Boy Pocket's slightly wider, okay? Again, much bigger screen on this Pocket here to the right, okay? Next one I'm gonna show you is Game Boy Pocket, right? So here's the Game Boy Pocket again, the original one I had as a kid. This is slightly even smaller, a little wider, I guess, than the Game Boy Color, only slightly. This runs off of two AAA batteries, rather. You can see the width's kind of similar, but again, the screen size on the Pocket, Analog Pocket, much bigger, much more bright. There's no backlit, obviously, on the three I just showed you. One of my favorite ones, though, and this is a system that I got a little while ago. This is called a Game Boy Light. This thing is awesome. This is only came out in Japan back in the day, right? And this is a backlit one. So I want to show you the gameplay. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's picking up, but it does, there's backlight. I can turn the backlight off. I can turn it on. You can see it's almost got like a fluorescent turquoise backlit to it, right? So I'm playing Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins. Let's see if I can adjust it. But I love it. When you're in the dark, this thing looks super cool. It's got like a really cool like turquoise glow to it. And that's gonna be important for a couple reasons. Kind of show you what you can do with the Analog Pocket and why that's relevant. So that's why I'm showing you this. But super cool. Take my word for it. If it was darker in the room, it definitely brights. It lightens it up. But this only came out in Japan. Super cool. It's got the screen size kind of similar to the Pocket, Game Boy Pocket that is. We can see again, similar in size. This one, obviously bigger. Next, I'm going to show you the Game Gear. This is my original Game Gear. You can see kind of size-wise. Now we're getting kind of closer into size-wise. The Analog Pocket might be slightly bigger as far as screen goes. Obviously, the Game Gear, much more bulky. It's 6 AA batteries. This thing 8 batteries like crazy. And even this thing is much heavier than the Analog Pocket for sure. And the last comparison I'm going to show you is a Turbo Grafx or Turbo Express. And you can see that this thing is a beast. This is a portable TurboGrafx 16 essentially. And this one, I have the adapter, the TV adapter on here as well. That doesn't normally come on there, but you can see this thing also 8 batteries like crazy. Small screen relatively to the Analog Pocket. So I just want to show you size comparison. You can see like the width. This thing is obviously much smaller, okay? Also want to show you these 3 buttons here, and why they are relevant. You have the start, you have the select, and this is your home button. This is your analog home button. I'm actually opening the cartridge by mistake there. There's no cartridge, that's why I didn't load. So essentially you can kind of you can put cartridges in and off even though the system's on, right? It's different than a normal system. And you can't just, like the original Game Boy, you can't just power it on and move cartridges in and out. You gotta make sure you exit out of the game first, of course, though. Okay, so you have your settings. And this is your Pocket. Let me put in a game and show you. So give me a moment to do that. Okay, I got a game. It's a classic. It's Zelda Link Awakening, which is a great classic. Link's Awakening is an awesome game for the Game Boy. Plug in like so, right? Very easy. I can now, let's go to back. I can see my battery life right now. I'm at 71%. It shows me my battery life, which is great. Go back. Okay, let's go to settings. I can see Pocket settings. I can see system settings. This is where you can go to Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, or Game Gear, right? There's going to be other future firmware updates, I'm assuming, once they do release the Lynx and the other adapters. There'll be other systems to select from here. I'm going to show you, let's boot up game first. Go to Memories. You can take screenshots and all that good stuff. So let's go to Play Cartridge. Hit that button. Oh, this is information. Basically I hit the A button, right? So that shows you kind of information. Go and play it. Right away, there's no boot up, no load, right? Just speeds it up. This is full blast, full volume, max, very loud. I'm gonna turn it down. See, there's no indicator bar there. Now, if I hold down let me just turn it down a bit more. If I hold down the analog button and I hit left and right, I can change now. This is original Game Boy mode. It's got the kind of the pea green look to it, which is awesome. I can hold down, hit left, right again. Original Game Boy, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got the kind of scan lines on it, which is cool. Hold it again. Now I got the Game Boy Light, which I showed you earlier. Obviously is much brighter, but it kind of emulates the Game Boy Light, which I think is really cool that they added that. I can do the Neon Matrix, Pinball Neon Matrix, which is cool. And that's the last one, right? So this one's probably my favorite. This looks like very cool too, because it looks like it's playing on the original Game Boy screen. And here's the original analog one, right? So I can go to here. So we're still playing the cartridge. We're going to settings. I can go to Pocket, Systems, Game Boy. This video, we can just change the color palette too. Right now it's grayscale. I can go to mint. I can also go to blue, green, and purple. This is almost like, purple is almost like Game Boy Color a little bit in some ways, right? I don't know if I like that as much, to be honest with you. So we're gonna go back to settings, Pocket, Systems, Game Boy, video, color palette. I like mint's kind of cool. That's a cool look. Yeah, let's stick with mint. Frame blending. You can see there's a slight, let's turn it on. That's subtle, but does make it different. Kind of blends those sprites together. Let's do sharpness. We can do up to 0 to up to 3. We'll keep it at 3. I can do size position. I can change the width and the height. Right now it's 1600 by 1440. I can shrink it down. If you wanted to do that, you can do that. I'm not sure why you'd want to shrink it down necessarily. Maybe if you're playing on a TV or something like that, I'm not quite sure. You can change position. I can always reset to default. So that's cool. Let's go to audio. This is just basically the volume. Cart volume is 10. Looks like I can't really change anything on that. Controls, Super Game Boy. I can add that. Hardware, Auto Force Game Boy mode. What's this? Game Boy Color mode. See what that does. Okay, let's go and start it. That looks pretty good, right? I also want to show you something really cool that you can do with the Pocket is you can save states. Just like you can with most emulation, you can save states. So how to do that, you hit the analog button and up, and it's going to save it. And this is progressive a little bit. So let's say if I want to access the load spot, hit the analog button in the middle, go to memories. Oops, wrong button here. Got to hit a, I can do screenshots, but I can do save states, and then I can go back to load kind of a recent one. Confirm. And now it brings me back back to where I saved it, which is really cool. It's a huge benefit. That save state will save in the actual FPGA on the system itself, which is really cool. I like that. I love that feature. Let's go back to settings. You can go to Pocket settings, system settings, or let's go to display. Brightness is where I control the brightness. I can go up to 70, or here's 100, super bright. Let's keep it at 70. The brighter it is, the more it's going to drain your battery, obviously. Audio, you can low impedance. Speaker monitor, you can't really do much. Global reset, we'll keep it the same. So that's kind of the benefits. Which display do you guys like better? That's obviously like more the original Game Boy. Here's the original Game Boy without like the green look. I like this one's probably the best. This one's my least favorite. Which one do you guys like the best? This is kind of cool. All right, now I'm going to show you, let's go back to quit cartridge, right? Okay, I want to show you Game Boy Advance. Here I have Mario Kart Super Circuit, which is a fun game. Plugs in nicely, right? We'll go and play cartridge. Automatically knows. Okay, let's see what our options are. So we got analog. This is a bright, pretty good one. We have the original. It's got the scan lines. I don't know how well you can see it through the camera. SP101. So 3 different options here. This looks like kind of a combination of both, right? So it's brighter, but also has the scan lines. Again, I'm not quite sure how well the camera is picking that up. Let's go to core settings. Let's go to settings. System settings, Game Boy Advance. Video, let's see, sharpness. I can adjust that. Frame, slightly, very subtle. I can change the position as well. Audio, I can do original audio or high quality. Let's do high quality. Let's see what original sounds like. And let's see what high quality sounds like. My ears can't really, I can't really tell the difference, to be honest with you. This is probably the brightest. This is probably the best option. I can also save state, which is nice. So we'll go to start Mario. Let's go to memories, go to save states, see if it worked. Yep. I'm curious if I go memories. Okay, that's nice, awesome. Now I'm going to show you Game Boy Color. I'm going to show you on Game Boy Color, Super Mario Brothers Deluxe. We'll plug that in. Again, plugs in nicely. We'll play kart. We have analog, we have the LCD, and the 2 options, right? So this just adds the different scan lines. And this seems brighter, or not just brighter, but seems louder as well. I didn't change the volume from this with the Game Boy Advance, but this definitely seems brighter. It's a great port for the original Super Mario Brothers. Let's go to settings, systems, Game Boy Color, video, original. Oh, that's the 2 different ones I showed you before. Frame bleeding, you can change the size. This basically just adds scan lines. Which one do you guys like better? You can actually go back in this version, which is, I just not recognize. That's kind of cool. At least go back for a little bit. Right? Now let's show Game Gear. I'm going to use the adapter, like so. Plug this in. Now with the adapter, I can no longer use the shoulder buttons, right? I don't need that for Game Gear anyway. Play kart. Let's change, I can do original plus, which adds a little brighter scan lines, or the analog Game Gear. So this is obviously more bright. Which one do you guys like better? Let's check out the system settings as well. I can't do anything with the audio, but I can do video, I can do frame blending. It's on. Not much huge difference. I can do sharpness. This desaturation, not quite sure what that does. Oh, makes it brighter, a little darker, maybe. I don't know. Position, I'm not quite sure why you'd want to change the position. Let's go back to the game. I think the plus looks good to me. That kind of looks like the original Game Gear screen. Pretty decent port, not as good as the Genesis one for sure, right? Confirm. Let me show you some additional settings. You can go to about, shows about like all the legal stuff, special thanks, support. Let's go to tools. This is the Nano Loop. This is the program that you can use to make music and import the music using the cable to your PC or Mac. You got Game Boy Studio. You can develop games through your Mac or PC. Again, you can play creations on their website for Analogue Interactive's website. They have the program you can download. I don't have the cable for that, but that's really cool. Developer mode. Okay. Here is Open FPGA. So these are the additional cores. So I'm going to hit A. These are different cores currently available. You got Adventure Vision, Arcadia, Arduboy, I'm not quite sure what that is. Asteroids, which is basically the original arcade Asteroids. Select to add credits. Oh, I already blew up. Okay, we'll accept that. Go back to cores. I have Atari 2600 games, Channel F, ColecoVision, Dig Dug's Arcade, Donkey Kong Arcade, Galaga, GameMate, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Game King, Genesis or Mega Drive, Green Bear, I'm not quite sure what that is, and Intellivision, JT Karnoff, I'm not quite sure, Lunar Lander, the arcade, Master System games, Megadoc, Neo Geo, NES, Odyssey 2, PC Engine, which is also TurboGrafx 16. I'm not quite sure what this is. PDP-1 Space War, Pokemon Mini. I don't think I have any games on there right now. Pong, Puyon, which is an arcade game. Qbert, Raider Scope, SG-100, 1000, which is an early Sega system. Super Nintendo, Space Race, Studio 2, Super Breakout, Super Game Boy. This is cool too. Watch, check this out. Super Game Boy. Run Kart. You get the Game Boy. And now I'm playing, I still have the Link's Awakening. Now I'm playing on the Super Game Boy, which is awesome because of the cart in there. And so now I can plug it, if I have the dock, I can plug it on my TV, use the 8-bit-do controller, Bluetooth-wise, and now I have a Super Game Boy here as well. I think that's super cool. It's kind of a weird mix of arcade games randomly and then some course, right? So let's see here. Qbert, of course. Okay, Super Nintendo. Let's see where we're. Supervision, Techno. That's it. So let's go check out some of these cores a little bit more. Let's check out ColecoVision. Hit run. They're all alphabetical. So let's check out. Oh, this is a good one. Cabbage Patch Kids. I cannot save. Right, using the core, I cannot save state, where I can do like I can do with the cart. I can't switch between different versions, filters or anything like that. Let's go see what we can do. Tools, let's go to core settings. Controls, I can map the different buttons, right? I can change that, which is great. I can change mode, but I can't change the display at all, okay? Not a huge issue, but definitely have more benefit playing the games on the original cartridge because you can have a change of different displays is much more better than on the cores. This is kind of like, oh shoot. If you ever play game Pitfall, this is essentially Pitfall, but for Cabbage Patch Kid themed. Let's turn it up a little bit. Surprisingly, it's a really fun game for the ColecoVision. See if we can catch it. There you go. Oh, see, okay. Anyway, before I embarrass myself any further, I'm not playing that game. It is a fun game, trust me, take my word for it. Let's go back. Let's take a look at Donkey Kong. This is the arcade. Hit select for credits. Again, I can't really change the display or anything like that. I can't change the audio. It sounds slightly different, to be honest with you. Plays great, just sounds slightly off. Okay, we'll quit. Important to note, if you hit analog button and you don't pause it, or if you're in a game, the game's still going to play behind the background, so you got to be watch out for that, okay? Some other games you can check out. Game Boy. I have folders, different Japanese games, prototypes, hacks, English translations. So that's a benefit. I can hit left and right, kind of scroll faster. So that's one benefit of the games through the core is I can pretty much choose any game I want as long as I have it, right? Bubble Bobble 2, for example, part 2. Looks great. No, oh, I did save a state. There is a save state on here, which is good. I guess this core does have that. Ooh, it's loud. Much louder than what Donkey Kong was, right? This game, really fun game. I know it's kind of a hard game to find for the NES, but really fun. Now, let's see if I can switch. I can't switch the display. Let's go to core settings, controls, rumble strength, but no display mode, right? Let's see, memories. Load. Yep, it does work. So that is cool. So save states does work on Game Boy. I didn't realize that. That's awesome. Let's go back. When you exit, it takes you all the way back to the main menu. It doesn't take you back to the core menu. It's not a big deal, but that's just it is what it is. Game Boy Advance. Let's check out, I don't know, what's a random game here? Here's Crazy Taxi for the Game Boy Advance. I didn't know this game actually came out for the Game Boy Advance, to be honest with you. Let's see how it plays. It does have save states available, which is nice. Let's check out core settings. I can do controls. I can do a little bit more. A display layer. And as these evolve, they're going to get better and better, right? So this is kind of still early in development for the system. Curious how this plays. Oh wow, this is wild. Kind of a random version of the game. Kind of slow though. That's just how the game was, right? The system was. That's wild. Okay, we'll exit that. That's cool. Let's go back to cores. Game Boy Color, let's check it out. Let's do Donkey Kong Country. Loads really quick. Let's see if I can save it. I can save it, which is nice. Let's see the different options, core settings options. I can set the controls. I'm actually surprised how good this port is for the Game Boy Color. Yeah, pretty decent. Sounds pretty good. I love the music. Can switch to hit and select. Oh. Yeah, not bad. Okay, I'll quit. Check some more cores. I don't have any Game Gear. I have some Game Gear games. Let's do Aladdin. I can save as well. Save state. That's great. Tools. Oh, memory. Let's go to core settings. IS export. I'm not quite sure what that is. Load cart. That's where you basically change the game. This one is more like the Super Nintendo port of Aladdin, although not really much like the Genesis port. Genesis port of Aladdin is one of my favorite games for the Genesis, right? But this is more like the Super Nintendo version of it. Two completely different games. Okay. We'll quit. Go back. Speaking of Genesis, let's go to Genesis. And let's load Aladdin. Show you the Genesis version of it. Super quick. Let's see if we can save it. Save states are not available for the Genesis core yet. I'm sure that might change. Let's see what options. Core settings. Okay, I can do 3-button or 6-button. That's nice if you're playing games like... basically, if you're playing games like Street Fighter 2, etc. That's nice to have 6-button. It just looks really clear on the Pocket. Sounds really nice, loads really quickly. Look how much different, looks how different it is though. When I was young, I used to think this was like playing the movie. I mean, the graphics were that good. For a 16-bit, pretty incredible. And the music is awesome too. Okay. Man, I could get lost in that game forever. I could play it all day long. Love that game. Okay, let's go to continue looking here. See what we got. I don't have any television games or Megadeck. I don't have Neo Geo. Neo Geo is a little bit more tricky to get working. NES I have. Let's check out some games. Oh, I'll tell you a game I love. My favorite soundtracks. By Sunsoft, classic. Watch. I can't save states on the NES. Let's see the core settings. I can change a region. I can do overscan. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it makes it a little bit more wider, I guess. I don't know how well you can see that, but it makes it a little wider. Loop noise off. 16-bit scan lanes, sprite lanes. This song right here, though, let me turn it up. One of the best NES songs, in my opinion, out there. Awesome. Okay, we'll quit. So far, the cores are working great. You know, I've played this for weeks now, and I've never had any issues with games not loading properly through the cores, which is nice. PC Engine. I have it. Oh, here's Street Fighter 2 for the PC Engine. This game only came out for, in Japan, and this is a great port of Street Fighter 2. Surprisingly, good port. The volume's quiet. I mean, I noticed a lot of the cores, some cores have quieter volumes than other cores, which is interesting. Now, because the original TurboGrafx 16 / PC Engine was a 2-button controller, you have to hit select to switch between punch and jump, which is kind of, or punch and kick, which is kind of annoying, but let's see, let me pause it. Oh, so you can't pause in this because there's no pause button. That's the system's fault, not my fault. Okay, well, we're gonna go to core settings. I can turn 6-button on. That's nice. I can do turbo tap on as well. Oh, okay. Now I can use my shoulder buttons for punch. That's nice. Yeah, that changes everything. Now I got the shoulder buttons. That's great. Let's see if I can save it. No save support. Okay, so some cores have save support, some don't, so far as what we're seeing. I can't change display. Let's go back, quit. Super Nintendo. My favorite games are here. F-Zero. See how it's louder? Bye! No save support. Okay, this is my always favorite guy here. Let's see the options here. Core settings. Super FX Turbo. Okay, I can turn that on. Use multi-tap. CPU Turbo. D-pad speed, joystick, use 4:3 video. And I'm not sure how that's any different because it's all 4:3. What's happened here? Okay, maybe turn off these. Let's see what's going on. So yeah, it kind of blinked out on me when I turned those turbo things on. So let's see if that's going to happen here or not. It didn't. So yeah, good to know. So maybe that's just on specific games that doesn't work. So good to know about that option. Shoulder buttons work great. This guy's the slowest guy to start, but he's the heaviest, so he turns easier. Another great soundtrack for a game, man, I'm telling you. Okay. Let's go to other cores. Let's see, we're kind of wrapping these up with our cores. I showed you Super Game Boy already. I think that pretty much sums it up for the cores, so to speak. Awesome. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a flash card. Okay, the final way I'm going to show you how to play games is through a flash card. This flash card's cool because I got it back in 2015. It was for Game On Expo, which is an event I run. It was used for that, and this is like one of a kind, which is cool. This particular version, anyway. I'm going to plug this in like a normal cart. I got my micro SD card in here with a bunch of ROMs. We're going to play cart. And I can change it to analog, or I can do original, right? Let's go to games. And it's all alphabetical, so I got US and Japanese. I got the whole library on here, so I don't know, let's choose a random game. Let's do Jungle Book. Takes a couple of seconds to load. And I got two different options here, right? Let's go settings. It basically treats it like it's a Game Boy game, essentially. I'm curious on one thing. Let's go, I haven't tried this yet. If I were to go to cores, let's go to Super Game Boy, see what happens. Okay, I can still run it, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I dig it. No safe support on this core. Let's exit this core. Play cartridge. Another cool thing also with this flash card is people have taken original games and made them better. For example, let me show you Super Mario Land DX Deluxe. This is really cool, guys. Check this out. Let's play on original Game Boy. Let's start it. They've added color to it. How cool is that, right? Colorized it. So cool. I can also save states there as well, which is nice. I feel like the sprite for Mario is different. I feel like they've updated the sprite. I think they have, actually. It's cool that people take the time to do that, right? All right. Basically, turn it into a Super or Game Boy Color version. Let's quit that. Let's play card. I'll show you another version as well. This is Super Mario Land 2 Deluxe. This is 6 golden coins. They have also updated this and made it color, this is a great game in itself. First one with Wario, by the way. Introduced Wario to the Mario world, essentially, right? How cool is that, right? There's the end. Here, let's go play as Luigi. Looks so cool in color. I love it. Okay, that was embarrassing, but that's so awesome. This is in color now. I love this one. I love it. Okay. I also want to show you, before I go here, I want to show you a game that we've been working at CollectorVision Games. This is a prototype version. It's called City Hunter and the Sacred Tribe. This game is near completion, so I'd say about 95% complete, but it's a first look at it. You can check it out. This is for the Game Boy. Here it is. Let's do it without the scan lines. City Hunter is kind of our character. Essentially, he's like our Mario for CollectorVision. So we have a handful of games for the featured City Hunter. Sacred Tribe, this game in particular has been ported to, let's see, the Sega Master System, ColecoVision, and Intellivision, even Commodore 64, both cartridge and floppy, and then of course the Game Boy version here. Object is to collect. You don't know what's going on. That's the Sacred Tribe. Okay, you gotta collect all the diamonds, right? You can go in here. Let's go down. Gotta watch out for the fire. There's no weapons. Those are supposed to fall. This is still a prototype. Watch out for the snake. Spider. Oh, watch out for the spider. You'll notice some of the sprites are taken from other City Hunter games. This is still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Oh, there's a key. All right, let's go back. Now I'm going to share with you my thoughts about the console itself. Thanks, guys. So overall, what do I think about the Analogue Pocket? I think it's definitely worth the $220 they're selling it for on their website. Don't be fooled. I would not recommend buying this on eBay or Amazon, paying twice as much. Be patient. Pre-order on their website if you're interested, and wait. It's definitely worth the wait. I like the black. I've not seen the white in person, but I'm sure the white is equally as cool. I like the fact that you can play cores. You can expand this to play other systems like Super Nintendo, NES, Genesis, etc. And I imagine there'll be other additional cores that are going to be coming out that this thing can play, because it is a community console essentially, right? And as I mentioned before, they'll always be evolving. The best way to play games, in my opinion, on this thing are through the original cartridges, right? Because you have more options for display and more options for video options. And I think that's just the best way to play it. Now, as far as the difference between the cores and playing the ROMs through the cores or the ROMs through a flash cart, really no difference as far as display options. So you're probably better off if you have the cores. That's going to be a less expensive way to play those ROMs, or through the cores, opposed to paying money for a flash cart. Benefit of the flash cart, though, is to play modded games or like advanced games like the DX, right? For the Super Mario Land DX games I showed you in color. You can't do that through the cores. Some cores, it's hit and miss, right? So some cores you can save states, some you can't. I'm sure those will evolve and change over time. The audio also was the audio was off, right? So you play one core, it'd be super loud, and you go switch to a different core, it's kind of quiet. You can adjust it, of course, but there's no consistent audio frequency or loudness, so to speak, on each core, right? There's no consistency on there, so be aware of that. Really not many knocks, other than maybe the shoulder buttons I wish were slightly bigger. Other than that, screen size, 3.5 inch screen's very nice. The high resolution, I can tell it's definitely 10 times. They claim it's 10 times the res compared to the original Game Boy. I believe that. So I'll put a link below to their website in case you guys are interested. Thank you for watching, guys. What do you guys think? Appreciate you guys subscribing as always. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. And of course, game on.